Hi there, and welcome to this Airships unboxing video. I've got with me today David Dennington, who's an author, and he would like to talk to you about his interest in airships, but also the books he's written, and also what got him interested in airships in the first place. So, hi David, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you? Good to be with you, Alistair.
Excellent.
Okay, I got interested, I guess, in airships when I was a teenager, reading all Neville Shute's books. And I guess I must have read Slide Rule when I was 18. And I got rather fascinated with him and his airship experiences as a budding author writing at night in his bedsit, and then going to work in the day and working on the great big airship R100. Anyway, many years later, fast forwarding to 1989, there was a huge recession in the States here, and I went to Florida to work. And someone gave me a book called The Airship Men. Sorry, the Airmen Who Would Not Die. And that book fascinated me because it told the story of R101 as well as the ghostly aspects of it through Captain Hinchcliffe's experience. So I thought I'd wanted to write for all my life, really. So I thought, well, I'm going to research this when I get back to Virginia, and have a stab at writing a novel, which I've always wanted to do. And my daughter was in Hollywood at that time, working on becoming an actress, which she was there doing for a long, long time. So I came back to Virginia eventually after 15, 16 months in Florida. I came back and I read about 30 books on the subjects of ghosts and airships. And my favorite story really was the Hinchcliffe story. I have to tell you that. And I thought, well, I'm going to write the book about the airshipmen first, to learn how to write. And I went to writer school for about 10 years. And I got deeply immersed in all the characters of Cardington and Howden, Barnes Wallis and Shute, and Scott, Thompson, Colmore, Irwin, all of them. And I just love all those people, all of the crewmen, Binks and Bell, you know, the whole gang. I got very, very involved in all of them. In fact, I came to Cardington a couple of times, and I met Dean Birchmore there, and he showed me around. He introduced me to Sky Hunt's son, who was there and chatted with me for a couple of hours. And it was great. I came back, and I guess I wrote 1,000 pages of research notes, and then I wrote everything into screenplays, because that's what I was studying. That was my goal, really, was to write something that could be made into movies. So I had some success with the screenplays, getting into some of the big competitions and getting into the quarterfinals with them. But everybody said the story's great, but you've got to write it into books and novels. So back to the writer's school I went. And then I produced this book, which is The Airshipmen. And I thoroughly enjoyed doing that. The next book to do was this one, which is called The Ghost of Captain Hinchcliffe. And both those books are tied into each other. And I'd written the Airshipmen really as one big screenplay. It's 667 pages long. But I wanted it to really be used as a miniseries for TV. I thought everything is there, the dialogue is there, and all the rest of it. And people have read it, have said they could visualize all of those things. And it really, people say it's the Titanic of the sky and all that. It really is. And when you see that visually and tie in some beautiful music, and the scenes from the air of England would be breathtaking. So that's where I am. Some people complained the book was too big, so I'm now working on finishing up a trilogy, which is really the same book, but written with lots into 3 parts instead of 1, which makes it more manageable. And what I've done is in the back of each book, I've put vintage photographs covering R38, R100, and R101, so that you could follow the story with the photographs in the back of each book, if you're interested to do that. So it's been doing the trilogy has taken me longer than writing the other ones, because you just have to be very careful with copyright, and I've been very careful to try to make sure that these are copyright free, and I hope everything turns out well and that people do enjoy it. And really, that someday, probably long after I'm gone, somebody will make this into a series, a mini TV series, and I think it would be wonderful. How's that?
Thank you. I've had the luxury of reading the book, so I know how good it is. Who was your most difficult character to write about?
Funny you should say that, because I found them all very easy. Because I felt in the end, I got into everybody's head, particularly Thompson. I love these characters, all of them. And I love the crew. I mean, there's a lot of times it's just laugh out loud, you know, British humour, Cockney boys at their best. You can't beat them, you know. And Thompson was a wonderful character. Princess Martha was a wonderful character. I mean, that woman wrote 65 books. She was an extraordinary lady. And the other female character I invented was Lou Remington's wife, who's a wonderful Yorkshire girl. So there are wonderful characters throughout. I might have to tell you that they were all easy for me. I loved Scott very much. I thought he was a great character. You know, Scott had his problems, and I could argue personally that there was, you know, they put all the blame on Thompson, but a lot of blame could have gone on to Scott. But he was just another human being doing his best, as far as I was concerned, like they all were. They were just all trying to do their best. And they were tough times, and people were trying to earn a living.
Indeed, that's what people tend to forget, is the timing. You talked about recession in 1989. 1929, right. There was a huge, you talked about the Great Depression, and that impacted everything globally. We just had that. So that's the thing, when I've looked at airships, is the timing of these things. People think, well, why weren't they, after the crash, why wasn't there a success? And I think, well, actually, if you think about the financial problems that the country was in at that time, you've got to put it into context. And so that's always something that people tend to forget as well, is that could they afford to do this? But I think your book is fantastic. And thank you for sharing the detail of how it got started with the airshipman who wouldn't die. That, again, is another book that some people, if you haven't read it, is one to look into, that side of things when it comes to seance, which was hugely influential in the 1930s as well. So again, really, really interesting that was the thing that started, that book was the source that started your interest. But again, I think your richness of your characters is absolutely fantastic. You enlightened me when I read it as well.
Thank you. I have thought, people keep saying to me, when are you going to write something else? And I'd never had writer's block when I had all that material in my head. It was like, sometimes I would spring out of bed in the middle of the night and start typing.
Wow.
They just wouldn't go to sleep, all of them. They were all wanting to go, So I have thought of writing about more of the characters, just the days in their lives. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know where it's all going to go from here yet.
But anyway, thank you very much for explaining this. And I was going to say, it's a shameless plug, but if you haven't read the book, do go out and get it because it's a really good book. Anyway,
Okay.
thank you, David, for sharing your time and your experiences with us today.
You're very welcome, and thank you for inviting me to talk to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.